Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Knack. We do have live tournament action coming at you, and this is the Open Arena. Our first semifinal of the night, and AWESOMO having a little bit of trouble to the mineral line there. Yikes.
Whoa. Yeah, not a good way to start off a game. Very, very disheartening. I don't know if you've ever screwed up your drone splitting or your probe splitting, whatever it may be, but it's like, it does not put you in a good mental state. You're just like, not off to a good start, and hey, that first step is always the most impressionable of sorts.
It is. And here we are in a ZvZ matchup where every single little bit is going to count. I mean, one of the probably most frail mirror matchups is ZvZ, and I think that is already costing him a little bit as we move forward here.
Mm-hmm. And I have to disagree with you there. I don't think frail is the best term to apply. ZvZ volatile, I feel like, is the best term to apply. Frail kind of suggests that everything kind of breaks fairly easily. In truth, it's just everything can happen very quick and very much at the same time.
Right.
Particularly when you get into those Ling-Baneling wars where you kind of we have Lings and Banelings just running around, skirting all around each other, trying to catch one another, and it's like ants fighting has pretty much been what it's been called. Right. Affectionately, of course.
Oh, of course. Always affectionately, right? Nobody hates Zerg.
It's really hard to hate the most underpowered race because it's always got to root for the underdog.
Awesome. And so AWESOMO is asking why Gas, and sCztaaar is like, funny faces. But he does have his own Gas, so he's like, I'm not sure exactly what you're asking me here, buddy.
Yeah, always fun to play little mind games. I'm familiar with AWESOMO. I have seen him from other casts I have done. He's actually a really strong Zerg player. He's a little unorthodox. I would kind of compare him, if I had to almost like Rain Slush, who is, I would say, one of the more unorthodox Zerg players out there. He doesn't play real macro-heavy games. He'll go for that double Roach War and timing push, where you get burrow speed and tunneling calls all at the same time with the +1. Right. And if it hits, it's good against certain builds. On other builds, it's absolutely pointless to do. But I like his style. It's very very diverse compared to what most Zergs are saying, drone. And I think I'm going to drone a little bit longer, and then I'll make a unit. Right. Maybe just one, just two. If I can, I'd only make one Zergling.
Yeah, that's right. And quite honestly, sometimes that's exactly what a Zerg player needs, and that's why you've got to be careful early game in a ZvZ like this. Is you don't want to under-drone, you don't want to over-drone, and you don't want to underproduce your army. That's the real clincher. Now, he does have a spine crawler going down, AWESOMO, I should say, in kind of a strange position. Tell me what your take is on this. Why do you think he's putting this spine crawler back here behind his mineral line?
Well, commonly in ZvZ matchup, you'll usually see Roaches followed up with a speeding expand, or Banelings followed up with a speeding expand. So you want to get that spine caller out, especially if you're going to be expanding yourself. You want to have that out so you can plop it down right away. It's really good for picking off Banelings. It takes only 2 shots to take them down, and you can target fire with it. And it really doesn't sustain that much damage from a Baneling explosion on itself. Right. So most Zerg players, if they're feeling extra cautious, will get that up as soon as possible. It looks like AWESOMO doesn't plan to expand anytime soon, and Tar has thrown down a Roach Warren, interestingly enough, and he did get Zergling speed with it, so I'm curious. He has 5 Roaches on the way, and still only 1 drone and gas. I'm curious as to what this is doing, and this spine crawler is going to make a world of difference for those Roaches.
Alright, and AWESOMO is grabbing his Baneling nest here, but he moved his spine crawler forward here, and he's now going to be putting down a second spine crawler. He's playing very defensively here. And I don't think that sCztaaar really has got the notion of moving out here quite yet, but he does have a lot of Roaches now out on the field. Do you think he is going to make a push here?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You don't make this many Roaches without expanding unless you're going to push.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And here comes Lings running into the middle of the map. AWESOMO seeing that, going to fall back. You can see good overlord placement from both players. A little bit better for sCztaaar, definitely.
Notice that AWESOMO canceled his Baneling nest and tossed down a Roach Warren immediately.
Yeah, smart decision there. If you ever see Roaches out and you have a Baneling nest not all the way complete, always a good decision to cancel it and go Roaches yourself, because at this point in time, it's really, really hard to play against Roaches with Banelings because they're going to have a lack of Lings, and they might not even have speed, so Banelings are just not going to be to your benefit.
Right, and here comes the engage. AWESOMO getting a pretty nice surround, but those Roaches backed up against that wall there, so smart. He's going to be able to keep these guys alive a lot longer than normal, and that was a nice little defense there from AWESOMO.
No, absolutely, but he needs to let Tar play into him. He can't be chasing after Roaches like this. Roaches, when they're not surrounded, are really good against Lings just because they can tank a lot of damage. Their AI, when surrounded, though, is terrible. Their AI keeps on almost like carouseling around and cannot pick a single wing to attack.
Right.
So, and it's really hard to control micro that because roaches are just, they're big clunky units and lings are so tiny and quick. It's very, very hard to focus fire.
Right. Now ZvZ taking an expansion here. He's got that going down in pretty decent time. Good transition, I'd say, out of him. But here comes AWESOMO's attack, and looks like ZvZ should be able to hold this off in pretty decent style. And look at the AWESOMO taking his own expansion right away as well. I like the transition here, but we're going to go into two-base play here. I don't assume to see tons of fireworks here in the next couple moments, but looks like ZvZ will move out once more just to put on a little bit of pressure, maybe poke in, see what's going on.
Yeah, he does have more lings than his opponent, although I think it just evened up right now, and with the spine crawlers and the queen there, it shouldn't really be much of a problem. Queens make such a world of a difference against wings, especially if they're not being attacked, and you can kind of see how it's really helping with this engagement right here. Right. Although AWESOMO really needs to back up, he doesn't really need to engage right now. He can just use his spine crawlers. They have 7 range, which is huge, right, especially against lings and battles like this. They make all the difference.
Yeah, ZvZ picking off a couple free kills there. Is going to back up just a moment and then going to take advantage of this queen being out of position. Nice snipe on the queen there. The queen actually got way out of position, I think.
Yeah, queens off creep are not something good to have. I do have to say what Tar did, and I don't think many people acknowledge this, that was a fast expand killer. Had AWESOMO elected to go for those 6 lings and expand immediately out of it, which is pretty common build for Zerg players in the ZvZ matchup. I personally go that build as my standard. That would have absolutely crushed AWESOMO, and he wouldn't have been able to respond to it in time. So I definitely like Tar's push there. I like the mindset behind it, but I think he just kind of more like evened out against his opponent because his opponent hasn't expanded. So.
Right. Yeah, agreed. And now we've got both of these guys on their two-base play. The big thing here is that AWESOMO actually is ahead economically. So Tar's got to be careful as he moves forward. And the nice defensive posture here of AWESOMO lets me think that this guy is going to be holding on to that economic lead for a good little while here. And I noticed that he did grab his Baneling nest out as well. Going to add some Banelings into the mix, and I think he's in great position.
Oh, absolutely. He's playing it very smart. He's not overmaking units, although he is making 5 additional roaches. I don't know if he's just getting out for defense or to push. The ZvZ matchup, like I said, it's very volatile, so you have to be very careful about when you make your units. Economic advantages go so much further so long as you can take care of any countering attacks that are coming in and know your opponent's unit composition. So as long as you can keep on counting units, and that's what it's all ZvZ is about, is counting larva and counting units and counting the units in terms of larva. Because then you can kind of mirror up against yourself. It's like, okay, we're both on one base for about 5 minutes. That means he spent 15 larva on lings, and I spent 12 larva on ling, and I have 3 more drones in him. If you can start to do those on-the-fly calculations as a Zerg player in the ZvZ matchup, you'll see why Nestea is pretty much the king of the galaxy at it.
Right.
It's
such a good point. Oh, I mean, it takes a special mind to be able to do that, especially at this level. And really what we've got here between AWESOMO and Tar here is players who are just about at that level. They're able to calculate to see what's going on.
Yeah, here comes a pretty big push from Tar, though. There are Banelings out as well as these spine callers trying to get into a better position. So long as AWESOMO, I think if he holds position his roaches and gets the Banelings to connect with the lings, he'll be totally fine against this push. Those spine callers are great against roaches, do an extra 5 damage. So there you go. Engagement does happen. He's going to target down the spine callers. Baneling's coming in for both players. Wow, where did all the Banelings come from Tar? Roaches do soak up all the damage. It's amazing. And pretty good arc from AWESOMO. Has some roaches in the high ground. And Tar's going to have to back up, but he's at a 15 food differential now.
Yeah, that's a big loss there for Tar. And I think that AWESOMO's defensive posture is really what did it for him. And like you said, those spine crawlers were in such nice position there. Even though the lings can still get a surround on them even when they're butted up against each other like that. I mean, that position with the instant arc on his roaches was just perfect for AWESOMO. And now, still holding on to, 13 leads in supply count. And ZvZ is trying to figure out whether or not he's so far behind where he has to all in or if he can back up here and keep droning. But it looks like he feels like he may have to continue this attack.
No, he really doesn't have much of a choice left. He's already behind where it goes by 9, which was previously as much as 11 before. And also is remaking spine callers. He has the defender's advantage. He has a good unit composition now. He needs to be careful, though, because if these spine callers go down before they can ever get up, and one does go down thanks to the Baneling bombs, and a whole bunch of drones went down, now dropped down to 17 to 23 roaches. So Tar doing the damage he needs to do to get back into this, although he's going to have to retreat for now, as AWESOMO does have more roaches in him currently. But this could be really bad bad, and both players are re-droning. So looks like AWESOMO is going to, if he does not keep up droning and do a little bit of damage to Tar, he will fall behind. The aggressive Zerg, so long as they're successful in their attacks and retain units, will always come out on top because they'll be able to fall back and drone as much as they like without fear of a strong counterattack that they can't hold.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. Tar now at 35 drones to 26, up by 9 still. This is phenomenal. Like you said, it came down to Tar being able to do the damage necessary. So it was a good choice for him to go in there for that attack. And it looks like AWESOMO is going to take that in stride. However, he's going to gear up for his third. Looks like Tar going to be doing the same thing. He's busting down these rocks. Both players have been working on that here for a moment. But AWESOMO now going for a large roach push. This looks pretty scary, quite honestly. I think that Tar might have a little bit of trouble with this one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's how many roaches is that? That looks like it's 13 to 5 roaches in the field, and banelings, I don't know if you know this, are useless against roaches. It takes about 6 banelings to kill 1 roach, as far as I know. However, 2 spine crawlers are up. If AWESOMO was smart, I would definitely run up into the main with those lings and banelings and try to do damage there, because that's where they're going to really make the difference. They're not going to be too helpful in this fight. Banelings getting soaked up a whole bunch of damage, but here's the problem. With those spine crawlers out and the splash damage from the banelings, they can actually do significant work in the long run, so long as Tar can retain his unit count. A lot of roaches out there, only 2 out for Tar, and looks like only lings on the way. Doesn't really have too much out, but I don't think it's going to be enough from AWESOMO to clean up these spine crawlers as well as the units, and he has to fall back now. He is oh wow, saying congrats, Stefano style. I definitely don't think he was out of it, but gonna go into game 2. I mean, there's 2 games left, possibly 2 games to be left in this series, so.
Yeah. So that's good for him. I think, like you say, preemptive, but game number 2 will be headed your way in just a moment. Don't alt-tab, always alt-Starcraft. We'll catch you guys then. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Knack. We have got that live tournament action continuing here between Tar and AWESOMO. It is going to be on Shakuris Plateau, MLG's version thereof, and we got Wendy on the line for game 2. Now, Wendy, our winner in game number 1, I think maybe was a little bit preemptive there, or at least our loser side there. Maybe left that just a little bit soon. Do you think that that the pressure is playing effect here on him? This, from a tournament setting.
It's quite possible. Once you get into the semifinal rounds, you are playing best of 3s. The style of play definitely changes more so than the previous matches. The tournament mentality is very, very difficult to deal with if you're not used to it. I mean, I know AWESOMO has played in tournaments. Same thing with Tar. They're not unfamiliar with the scene, but it's possible that they don't get to the semifinals all that often. So here they are in a situation they've never been in before or not in too often. And you have to kind of consider the weight of what a best of 3 can offer. You're going to see a more variety of builds. You will see rush builds. You will see riskier, more tenacious, more timing attack based builds that you may not be used to dealing with on the ladder or in custom games or something like that. That's why tournament play is so great. It really brings out the best in players because it offers a very diverse set of play styles, and it kind of really forces you to be on your A game. You can play standard, but playing standard will only work so long as you're playing the best possible standard game you can play.
Yeah, I agree.
And both players playing pretty much identical builds. Tar getting his pull out, I think, a little bit. No, but pretty much the same time, although his gas finished up a little bit earlier. Not going to make too much of a difference, though.
He did get his gas out sooner. Like you say, not a big deal there on the gas quite as much. But AWESOMO up here in the top right-hand corner is our teal Zerg. And he is taking on Tar, who is our yellow Zerg down here in the bottom left. And so, I mean, moving into game 2, Tar's got to be feeling pretty nice. Being up 1 game, he's mining his gas here pretty well. Probably going to see him start on his Zergling speed momentarily. The nicest part about getting out that gas this early is that you should be able to start your Zergling speed just a moment sooner, and that's helpful.
Yeah, well, here's what's interesting. You only had 2 guys on gas, and I wasn't sure if that was intentional. There are some Zerg builds where you get 2 guys on gas and then get speed as soon as it pops. It's a weird wonky timing thing that it's a refined build, I guess what people like to call them.
Right. And
you see it a lot in the Masters League. There's little builds that people have figured out for themselves that they like to use in certain matchups that they feel comfortable with. I like doing things like that. I have some rush builds where I get Zergling speed at the 4-minute mark. Like the speed finishes at the 4-minute mark. It's like a 9 pull base build where I pulled guys off and on gas at certain intervals. And you'll see a lot of stuff like that at this league. But 4 lanes cross the middle of the map, 2 for AWESOMO. They will cross paths. Looks like they do have a peace agreement.
Yeah, for now, right? And AWESOMO, though, the big thing for him is he's got to get over here and scout this very early baneling nest. It is going to be complete here in just a few moments, so it's nice that he didn't turn around here. I think he's got to get the scout out. I think he knows that.
Oh, he might not be able to. Good block from Tar. That's really good control. That is huge. And has Tar left? Yeah, Tar is going to be aggressive with this. He left 3 guys on gas. If there's ever a question for you lower league guys out there, whether or not your opponent is going to be aggressive with this baneling nest or be defensive, look at how many drones he has in gas. Look how many how much gas he has mined. You can click on the geyser and see is there. If you see 3 drones in gas and he's got a baneling nest up, be prepared. He's going to be aggressive. Get that spine crawler out. Get an extra queen out. It's all going to come in handy. And here we go. Baneling's morphing in. I think AWESOMO's going to catch it off guard, though. That is a really good pick. He can just start picking away at the morphing and banelings, or at least force cancels on them, which is incredibly beneficial in the long run. I think he'll have to fall back, though.
Yes, 4 banelings did make their way onto the map. Looks like we're going to see the ramp blocked off by some queens. Nicely done. He's going to position his spine crawler here as well. And a little bit more.
Oh, there's a hole in the. There's a hole though. Oh man, he did. I guess
look how well he's controlling his banelings, and he's going to head straight for the mineral line here. Going to try and kill off a couple of these.
But he doesn't kill a single one. Wow.
But he did weaken him up there just a little bit. He's going to pick off a couple with his stray lings. Nice bat, nicely done. He comes in and targets down the weak drones, and that was a really smart move there. It didn't cost AWESOMO too very many drones at this point, but every little bit is going to count. But he did cost him a little extra mining time, and now we've got sCztaaar taking down his natural. It is almost 50% complete here. He's going to set himself up defensively here for just a few moments, and I'm thinking that sCztaaar's kind of taking control of this game in a lot of ways, but the nice thing for AWESOMO is he does have a pretty nice looking army.
Oh yeah, I mean AWESOMO has only 3 banelings out, but that's all that he really needs right now. He's going to be able to expand just fine. At this point in time, unless roaches are out, and considering how aggressive Tar is, or was with that baneling nest, you can really at least postulate that there's no roach on the way. So having 3 banelings out for defense is fine. You have the queens there to block the ramp. You can use the banelings there to defend your hatch, and you can just drone up. It's really ZvZ is becoming more and more about using your units efficiently rather than trying to match go toe to toe with your opponent. Right. And a fast layer out of AWESOMO too. I'm wondering if he's going to go for some kind of Nidus play or maybe a roach +1 with speed. I'm not really sure.
Mutalisk play at this point.
I mean, 2 gas, it's possible, or even infestor play. Really early infestors are kind of coming into the pool, but lanes are running into the base. There are banelings here, so that will always ward them away. However, there's a lot of banelings out on the map for Tar. He's just running them in there one at a time. Wow. They all do get picked off. However, that spine caller is there. That's not being burrowed though, and wow, AWESOMO just gonna call a game right there.
Unbelievable, sCztaaar. Really strong tonight. I mean, I think that at least the first game was a little preemptive there from AWESOMO. Maybe he could have tried to hold on a little bit longer here as well. But, I mean, he's got a good gauge on this situation. And I think sCztaaar absolutely deserves to win. So, moving forward, we're going to go try and catch up with our next semifinal match here in just a few moments. Maybe hit the game before, but we'll catch you guys.
we can definitely hit Kodak versus his winner because
oh, good.
Chris is still playing GDLK.
Okay, cool. Well, let's hit that one up.
And I think, actually, they're in the game right now.
Too bad. Well, we'll catch you guys in just a moment regardless.